Shai, what stood out to you most in that fourth quarter in terms of the execution on both ends of the floor? What do you think you guys got to?
We found a way. I always say this, but we found a way to get stops. Obviously the game got a little crazy with the text and officiating and stuff like that. But we just stayed the course, found a way to get stops, and then that's when we're at our best. All season long, it's been like that. It's a trend when we win games. We find a way. It's very rarely we win a game by just outscoring the team and not getting stops. At some point, we have to buckle down and do it defensively, and we did it in time tonight to get a W.
Who else we got? Fleck?
Shai, you hit that step back three that put some distance between you and the Lakers, and the crowd just erupts. So what do those moments feel like for you?
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. The crowd it's been amazing all year. There's a real home court advantage in this arena. No matter who comes in the building, when the Lakers come in every building, they always have a huge fan base, and clearly tonight there was none of that. They're amazing. There's always a little push in the back when we go on a run, and when other teams go on a run, it never feels as big as it should because of them. So they do a great job, and it always feels good.
And then from your vantage point, what did you see when Luka got ejected?
Oh, I have no clue. I have no clue, and then I don't know. Ref was saying something. I don't know. Obviously the ref heard something he didn't like. Talked him up, but I don't know what he said.
And then franchise record, 65 wins, Sonics and the Thunder. What does that mean to you and the group?
It's good. It's I know it's never something we're chasing in terms of these little milestones, but it's good stepping stones in the right direction. It's good for us to we use the regular season to build habits, and building habits over quarters, over games, leads to winning games. And the more you build those good habits, the more games you win. And that only prepares you for the stage that we're about to go on. So it's a good thing. Steps in the right direction. Like I said, we're not always after it, but when we put our head down, we work, and we do the right things like that come to you. So I'm proud of the group.
You had a number of games where it's close throughout, but you guys have a sprint at the end and widen out the lead. Are you looking for that big shot to kind of start that? Because at the beginning of the run, you had a big three that kind of spurred things on.
I don't know. In the fourth quarter especially, I'm trying to just step into every moment confidently. Trust my work, read the game. If it's never I need to make this big shot, make this big play. I just read the game. If it's my turn to go, I go. If it's another teammate's opportunity to go, he should go. And I think that's what allows us to go on those runs. We don't ever put it on anybody's shoulders or add any pressure to ourselves. It's still the same basketball game. You still want to get quality possessions, quality looks offensively, and then quality possessions defensively, and that's how you build a run and stack it. And we've been able to do that because we had that mindset.
Is this a good prep work for playoffs tonight?
Yeah, one of the best teams in the league. Shot it very well the past two games. They're a good basketball team, obviously. Supreme talents offensively. They're going to test you. They're going to challenge you no matter who they play. And, yeah, playing a team that good, no matter what time of year it is always a great test.
Shai, obviously, these two teams, you guys, we talked about this the other day, you guys have clinched the first seed for a while, and they're still trying to figure out their seeding. So you're at two different stages. What can you take away from these two games, considering, I don't know if it changes their approach or your approach, but the fact that you're playing for different things?
So what's the question, sorry?
Yeah, what can you actually take away from these two games?
I think the biggest thing I would take away from these two games is I think tonight we did a better job of not panicking when a team gets super hot, and just rolling with the punches, like playing the game in front of us. I feel like the other night it got a little like carried away and we lost like our little fundamentals that we always have. And then they were hot, so like those things pile on and the league blows out of proportion. I think today we did a better job of like just sticking to it and playing against a really good team in the NBA. Like teams are gonna make shots they shouldn't make and make shots that they should make at the same time and go on big runs. And I think tonight we did a way better job of just staying the course. So I think like that's the one message I would take from these past 2 games against a really good team going into the postseason. Like in the postseason, the best teams are around and you play them every night. And they're going to throw punches, and sometimes they're going to be really heavy, but being able to stay the course is what's going to help us win games and ultimately win series.
And Mark was asked about, why you got put in earlier in the fourth than you usually would, and he said something along the lines of, like the game kind of called for it, the atmosphere, the situation, everything. It started to sort of simulate like a playoff game almost. And I know you've talked a bunch about, like even last game, saying that was one of 82. When it pivots to, okay, a playoff situation, playoff atmosphere, like what changes for you in your mind?
Nothing changes. For me, every time I step on the court, no matter what the time of the game is, no matter what the situation is, I try to play the game in front of me. I try to stay in the moment. Embrace it, whether it's good or bad. Like I don't ever, if tonight was a playoff game, it would have been the exact same for me. Like I don't add any pressure to myself. Like I stay very present and try to focus on the possession, the play in front of me, and I think that's been able to help me close games and be the player I am.
There was a stretch midway through the second quarter where Alex got 3 steals in I think a span of like 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Does it feel like that almost kind of sums up the calming veteran presence he provides, on a night like this where high-scoring first quarter he's able to kind of help you guys get settled in defensively?
Yeah. Like the things AC does is like so many things he does don't even show up on the score sheet. He's the only guy in our locker room that's won before, and that holds weight and knows what it takes. And it's no coincidence he was part of that group. He affects the game at a high level, no matter the situation. He makes everyone around him better without necessarily having the ball like you usually see it. And that's a special trait to have. So having a guy like that on your team is a weapon, and we'll continue to use it.
Shai, how much does your role or responsibility defensively change whenever you play with 2 bigs?
The bigs allow. Honestly, the bigs allow you to like gamble a little bit more on the perimeter. Now you still have to be smart, but honestly, the bigs help clean a lot up around the rim, and it's a luxury to have them for sure.
Shai, earlier this season, you said something about not feeling like you got your teammates ready for the playoffs. I know there's still a few regular season games left, but a lot of us in here aren't going to be able to talk to you before then. So I want to ask you, do you feel like you've been able to do that, and what are some of the things you've done to make sure that they are ready this time around?
Yeah, I feel like the guys on our team are. I feel like they're better and they're more confident than they were than the last season, and that's just a byproduct of their work more so than anything, and them trusting it. And like, I just want to make sure I'm always empowering them and to be confident and be the players that they are. And then that's the reason why we are the team we are. We're a very deep basketball team. We have so many lineups that we're good in, and it's because of however many guys play every night, 12, 14. And whether or not we are all actually ready, we think we are, but we won't know until the ball tips. And when the ball tips, we'll find out. But yeah.
Thank you, Shai. Where are the other guys?
How about this way?
It seems like all season long, you guys haven't flinched, when faced with adversity or a situation like tonight where, they're hot early again. What stands out to you about this team that they're one of the youngest teams in the league still?
Yeah.
You're 26. That you guys are able to do that night in and night out.
I think the grit. I think just continuing on a nightly basis, just to get better, learn. I think these last 3 games, especially going to playoffs, is really important for us. And I think we've learned a lot from the last 3 games, and we just want to just keep building just to be ready for the playoffs. And so, yeah.
Dub, you came in to start the fourth, and it just seemed like speed and tempo was a crucial part of what you were trying to get to. Did you feel like that was essential as you came in to change the mojo of the offense?
Yeah. I don't even really think it was me, to be honest. I was just kind of throwing the ball ahead and trusting my teammates to make plays, and that's exactly what they did. They were able to play off each other, and I was just trying to honestly follow along and keep that going and push the pace, and I thought we did a good job of that. Just defensively, it was kind of the same thing, too. I think we were tough down there on that end, and they hit some tough shots as well, but I think we just did a good job of imposing how we wanted to play.
Isaiah, Shai was just in here saying that, the difference between today and Sunday was that he felt like you guys didn't panic to some of the early shot making. I guess what have the conversations been like since Sunday in terms of why you might have reacted to that then and what needed to change?
I think both games similar to how their shot making. I think today we just did a better job of controlling what we can control. They have great players on their team that make difficult shots, and so I think we did a great job of just sticking to our game plan, controlling what, like you say, being more poised, controlling what we can control, and just taking it play by play. And sometimes you just got to live with guys making great shots. And again, today they were hitting, back-to-back games, hitting a lot of shots, and especially when the playoffs comes, you'll have stints like that. And so I think having this right before the playoffs, I think, is really good for us.
So I don't think it didn't feel like you did it so much today, but obviously that first game, it felt like you and Chet were out a lot on guys like Luka and, whatever on switches.
Yeah.
Where does your shorter comfortability lie and the way you would have to defend those guys, even in a potential playoff matchup?
Yeah.
There's things about to fall off.
What's up?
Your things about to fall off. Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I think in general, it's again, when you're playing guys like that, it's a team defense type of thing. Again, they were making a lot of shots in the first game. And I think we have a lot of versatility of what we can do defensively. And we just got to keep doing it as a team and keep going from there.
Jared, was there anything specific that you saw on the floor tonight that allowed you to be a little bit more aggressive offensively?
We weren't getting blown out by 20. We just didn't really get to. I feel like I got to a lot of the spots that we played them last time, same as today. Just made them. And that's basically the game. I hate to give you such a short answer, but that's just what it was. I thought I got to where I wanted to be the first time, and they didn't go in. And then tonight, I feel like I had a little bit more success. But basketball is just a game of resilience. Right? Is that what you say? Resilience? Yeah, resilience. Basketball is a game of resilience.
You got the wrong guy.
Just trying to play through those ups and downs and continue to shoot it. So that's what I tried to do.
Yeah, and then a question for either of you. What did you guys see when Luka got tossed? Was there anything from your vantage point that you saw?
You guys would probably see it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys probably saw it better than we did. I don't know. We're just focused on the game. There was a lot of talking throughout the game, and then, I don't know, the ref did what he thought was right.
When there is a lot of talking like that, you guys tend to stay out of it for the most part. What helps you guys, stay level-headed in those moments?
Mark be telling me to be quiet, so I try to be quiet.
Yeah, you definitely don't stay out of it.
I don't stay out of it. JT gave me an early warning, and I left it alone the rest of the game. So that's the dialogue with that. There's a lot of back and forth with the officials tonight, so usually when you kind of sense that, you try and just leave it alone, like they're human. So, and when you have 10 guys, 5 on each team, barking at you the whole game, like it just becomes a point where it's like they don't want to listen to you anymore, which is fair. So I tried, and tonight I thought I did a good job. I just left it alone and at least down the stretch left it alone and just just let them do their thing, bro. Once I got the warning, I just was quiet.
What was the warning for?
I don't even remember what I said, to be honest. I know it wasn't anything crazy, but it's just more like if you go up to them and like I said, if everybody's going up to them, like it just becomes a point of like whoever did it last, like they're probably gonna give a warning, and that's what it was. But it's just about knowing balance and still having respect for them throughout the game.
Jalen, how does your defensive responsibility change whenever you share the floor with a couple bigs?
You mean like if they're both in the game? Yeah. Recently, we've been trying different things. Like we were switch heavy the game before. This one, just trying like see some stuff out there. So I think it's more about being able to react on the fly. When they're out there, obviously I can pressure the ball a little more just because I know I have help behind me at the rim. But other than that, nothing really changes too much. I think that's the beauty of our team is we have so many other guys that are equally as versatile and, you know, can do other stuff on it. So I think if anything, it makes it a little easier. Allows me to play a little more carefree on defense and gamble a little more and just be more aggressive. So that's kind of how I see it with both of them on the floor.
Yeah, Dub and Hart, this is for both of you guys. I know you guys have kind of grown accustomed to fans heckling you, but like what I guess crosses the line to where like you feel like you need to say something back, or like you may like call a ref and, you know, tell them like this fan is, you know, out of line. Like what would you say crosses the line?
Don't be heckling me. I don't know.
I don't know. There's not. There's a lot you can say that'll piss me off, but I don't really care. I don't think I'm ever gonna point out a fan and be like they should get kicked out. That's usually a referee's job. I mean, I feel like there's obviously like slurs and stuff that you probably, as a fan, want to avoid because that'll usually get people going, or talking about people's family, I guess. But I mean, it hasn't happened to me yet, but I feel like some of it too is embracing it. But I feel like those are probably lines that get crossed. Like I said, I don't know what was said tonight, and being like a basketball player very well could have been something that crossed the line. But again, I don't know what was said, but I mean, for him to have that reaction, something for him might have crossed. Everybody's line is completely different, so Paycom's usually too loud to hear anything anyway. So,
Dub, after playing them twice in a 3-day span, almost like a mini series, like what would be the challenges of facing this Lakers team as a possible playoff opponent?
They have a good balance. They're just like a smart team. They understand, like, you have Bron that obviously has been in and out of almost every single situation, playoffs, non-playoffs, just throughout that whole thing. Obviously having Luka and Austin help them with that, and they just have like good schemes. They have a good coach, so they just have a lot of guys with like veteran experience. So that's something that'll pose a challenge. But I think it's been really good for us to be able to have a team like that who's scheming and trying to like obviously play for seeding and stuff. So I think we were able to grow throughout this past, 3 days? But yeah, those would be some of the challenges.
Jalen, on the Vanderbilt flagrant, was that something that, guys just in his feelings, frustration file? Had you guys been going back and forth throughout the night? Like, what do you think led to that?
No, we weren't going back and forth throughout the night. I really don't be talking trash. I don't know, probably a frustration foul. You'll probably get a more fun answer from him. But I didn't. He gave me free throws, so I appreciate him.
And question for both you guys. Shai was in here, he was talking about AC's not a guy who's going to have just big box score stats, but his imprint is always felt on a game. What is it about his like either game or mentality that allows him to always sort of just lift up whatever lineups he's a part of?
Just think how smart he is. I think he's always super active, kind of anticipating what's going on throughout the game. He has a lot of experience, he's won a championship before, so kind of what it takes. And I think for us, what he does is just the little stuff. I think, like Shai said, sometimes it doesn't show up on the box score, but yeah, I think he's just really smart and really experienced in that aspect, and so yeah.
for Isaiah. With this being your first year with the Thunder, and along the lines with you and AC being the two new guys, a couple of the new guys on the team. What are some of the biggest takeaways you would say just from overall the season? I know there's 3 games left, but with this being the last home game, like in what ways have you grown in this organization? Playing center and just doing things on both ends of the floor.
To me, it's really easy. I think coming in, the way everyone plays, I think we play team basketball offensively, defensively, and then we have guys like Lou Dort that make my job really easy. He's playing like a defensive player of the year. I think he should win that for sure.
Nice plug.
In general, I think we just have a lot of guys who play the right way. If you see Dub, he's playing on both sides of the court.
Great plug.
What was it, all defense?
Yeah,
all defense. All defense. And then Shai, I think just him being the MVP of the league, doing it on both sides of the court, I think makes my life so easy. Everyone's unselfish, and it was an easy fit.
Anyone else?
Nice way to plug.
I know, right?
Way to plug.
Jalen, I was just curious about the All-NBA team, and if that's something that you've thought about or something that, what would it mean to be named to an All-NBA team?
Hey, do I lie or no?
No, just say what you think.
I haven't thought about it at all.
All-NBA team.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts?
It would be cool. I think 65 wins is way cooler than All-NBA.
But
Both would be great. But that's not what I'm playing for. Obviously, we're playing to play way further than April, so that's what I look forward to. I don't think that's really something that I would be bummed out if I didn't. It would be really dope to obviously be on there. I think I'm probably more of a heavy advocate for Shai to get MVP and Lou to be on there. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like I said, 65 wins and being able to add to that is more impressive to me than that.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate y'all.
Well, we have an hour to the plane, so.
Mark, all season for years now, your team has made a habit of not flinching. Is that something built up internally that's been built within the group, or is that a combination of experiences over time? Where do you think that comes from?
A little bit of both of those things, but I thought the other night they obviously shot the ball exceptionally well, and I thought that kind of distracted us from stacking the next possessions, which is uncharacteristic for us. We haven't had that happen a lot, and I thought tonight, fortunately for us, we were kind of put back in the exact same situation. They were super hot to start the game. They scored 40-something points in the first quarter again. And I thought tonight our ability to stay present and just stack the next possession and problem solve was a big strength. And, that showed through in the resilience of the game that we had. I also thought the group that started the fourth quarter, we were kind of a little tight offensively, I thought, at the end of the third. And those guys went in there and amped it back up and played really loose, played really confidently, played together. And I thought that swung the game.
That stretch specifically, when things aren't going maybe the way you want to offensively, what is it there that you notice that can be bottled up and maybe taken into future situations like that they were executing on offensively?
I just thought, we got some good ones that didn't go down. And at the end of the day, all the things we experienced in these last couple games, we're going to experience going into the playoffs, playing against good teams. We're going to have times where it's hard to score. Every team does in the playoffs, where there's going to be times where really good players make really tough shots. There's really good teams in the playoffs. And we're going to have to endure together through that. And so every experience that we get that can build that muscle, continue to build that muscle, is good for us.
There was a point midway through the second quarter where I think Alex got 3 steals in the span of 2 minutes. I know it's nothing new for him, but especially on a night like this where stops came at a premium, just how invaluable was he defensively?
Yeah, he's always invaluable defensively, even when it's not the steals or when it's not, as visible. But I thought he brought great energy to the game tonight. He's good against that matchup specifically. He knows those players really well. And I just thought that stretch you're referring to, we really got our pressure going. We really got our help going. And in the first quarter, they made some really tough shots. They were hot, but at the same time, they probably got where they wanted to go a little bit. And then the second quarter, we were able to be a little more disruptive, a little more in character, and ended up turning them over a good amount and getting out on the break.
J-Dub was much more aggressive offensively tonight. What did you see from him and just getting to his spots?
He was great. I mean, he's growing. You know, just I continue to go back to that. Just because he's a great player already doesn't mean he's not growing. And he continues to grow. He's made huge leaps in his game. Certainly since he's been here, but even since the beginning of the season, just with the force he's playing with, and you can see him making himself do that at times and inserting himself. And I thought he did that tonight against a big, physical team, and he was outstanding tonight.
Luka got tossed there in the fourth. What was your read on that situation?
JT Orr, the referee that threw him out and teed him, gave me a tech in Sacramento for a very mild comment. So I don't know exactly what was said, but I can almost guarantee it wasn't as mild as what I said. And it was good to see him hold the line on the respect for the game standard from situation to situation, team to team. And I hope the league has those guys back when they do that, but I don't know that that's the case because it looks like an outlier when somebody tees a guy. But there should be a line. If they cross it, it should be a technical, and you get what you tolerate. So I give that crew a lot of credit for the way they managed it.
What does that line look like to you?
They define it. It's just like follow through on what you define.
Mark, what kind of dictated, it seemed like Shai came back into the game earlier in the fourth quarter than usual. What kind of dictated that decision?
Just going for the game. Wanted to simulate kind of a prime up for the playoffs, and that's what I would have done in a playoff game.
Do you know if the technical, did they call it because he said what he said to a fan, or just because he said it, period? Did they explain
it was
that?
directed at the official from what I understand, but it was across the floor. I always ask the officials what they say because I'm trying to calibrate where the line is. I've heard some crazy stuff now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out where the line is, and I just want to make sure that the line, I'm not asking for competitive advantage. We just don't want competitive disadvantage in those situations. And so, but yeah, it was. I don't think he would have thrown him if it wasn't directed at him and pretty potent.
The 3 steals got mentioned with AC, but just overall, he has 9, 3, and 4. It's not just some huge box score, but what is it about his skill set and sort of mentality that allows him to sort of just lift up every lineup he's a part of?
Just the fact that he's engaged in every part of every possession. I always go back to that with him. He's always in the team, and he's always present in competition. So if the ball is as far away from him as possible, he's thinking about what's coming next. He's communicating to the people that are more involved in the play, and that's when he's least involved. When he's involved, he's certainly engaged. So just a great competitor. That really lifted our defense tonight.
And then with Lou, he's had some big games recently in some of these bigger stages. Shai said a while ago that as long as he's known Lou, that he's sort of just had an aptitude for big moments like this. Is this something that you've noticed a long time ago with Lou, of just being sort of prepared for these bigger moments?
Yeah, I mean, the bubble, it's like Game 6, I don't know what he shot, but he shot poorly. And then Game 7, they didn't guard him, and the guy bombed in a bunch of shots. It was really impressive. He's just, he just loses himself in the competition. If he fails, he's going to fail aggressively. He's not timid. And I've said for many years, he helps us stick our chest out in a lot of different ways, and that's one of them. He competes fearlessly.
Mark, are you grateful for a 2-game stretch like this? That team's been playing for something for weeks now. They've got 2 guys that can win a game by themselves. Are you happy to have it as opposed to something else down the stretch?
Yeah, I am, to be honest with you, because we want to improve. We have a young team. We've clinched the 1 seed, but we're young. And one of the things about us is we can continue to get better if we continue to focus on getting better. And if when we clinched the 1 seed, we started coasting, that wouldn't have been great for us. And the string of opponents that we've had, for the most part, over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, has been really good for us and has made us better. That team makes you better. If your help is leaning in the wrong direction, they're going to make the right play 9 out of 10 times. And so yesterday's game, or 2 days ago's game, having to respond to that, having to make some adjustments, having to emotionally respond to that was good for us. These are all relevant things for us, and they help us improve, and that's what we continue to be focused on as we run through the end of the regular season.
Mark, I'm just curious about your answer about Shai. when in your philosophy does it shift from 1 of 82 to something that you wanted to simulate the playoff look? Is it a matchup-based thing or a time of the season-based thing?
I mean, we'll extend them earlier in the year. Sometimes it's contextual to the schedule. Sometimes it's contextual to the game. I mean, that place was live in there tonight. Our fans were great. Both teams were really competing hard and really wanted the game. And so, that kind of told us that it had that kind of, vibe to it, and it was a good night to act accordingly. I didn't go in planning on that, but.
Is it safe to say Shai can smell blood at the beginning of that run that kind of widened the lead out? He nailed a big three that kind of got the crowd going, everything else.
Yeah, I mean, his confidence is unwavering. He had, if you think about it, he had missed a couple prior to that, and he's similar to Lou. I mean, those guys at this point, they're going to go down swinging now. They may fail, but they're not hiding. And that's the mark of a great competitor. Great competitors fail, but they don't hide, and those guys don't hide.
Anybody else? Andrew, you got one more? Yeah. Good one.
You usually have Lou on Luka, but you gave Kaysen like a lot of time on him tonight. Just thoughts on how he handled that load.
I mean, another player. He's played a lot of minutes. He's an impactful player already. He's a growing player. He's still learning these players. He's still learning the league. In these last couple games, as elevated as they were and as much as we wanted to improve, we wanted to give other guys reps on different people because that's how you grow your team, So Lou's done a great job all year. Lou did a good job on him again tonight in his reps, but we moved things around. Lou had James at different times. We have a lot of different point of attack players that we can shift around and be versatile with, and we're not going to miss the opportunities to do that.
Anybody else?